So, what do you think, Sherry, the biggest challenge you see with respect to leadership in dental practices? What do you see? You've seen practices over the last 40 years. What is it that prevents dental practices from going to the next level?
It's a really big question. And I think it's two questions. One is about the leadership, and one is about preventing from going to the next level.
Okay.
The leadership question is, I think the biggest mistake is that oftentimes the doctor doesn't really want to be a leader. He sort of got that by accident when he decided that he wanted to own a practice. And so
Sure.
leadership becomes a secondary issue. So in
Okay.
my coaching, I like to have leadership become a primary issue. Hopefully by the time I'm getting to the dentists, they know what they're doing. The dental excellence is there. Not that they're done learning by any stretch, but it doesn't have to take quite as much brain power as it did when they were brand new dentists. So they get to expand their thinking and expand their own potential by saying, wow, let me focus on leadership too. Let me also focus on team development and have my attention be able to be in more places than only in the chair.
So, are dentists of today realizing that it's an important skill set to master? Are they realizing that it's important for the success of their business to be an effective leader, to be somebody who inspires their staff, to be their best? Because dentists obviously are amazing individuals. They want to be best at everything they do clinically.
Yeah.
But from a team development and leadership standpoint, I completely agree with you. They may just not know that they need to be that. If they only knew that if becoming a good leader is going to help them grow their practice and get better patients who don't care much about price, but they care about quality and
Yeah.
trust. Are they realizing that? Is it that part of your job to
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of make them realize this matters too, in addition to clinical dentistry? This matters. Leadership matters.
Amal, this is funny. I see basically two things. I
Okay.
put almost everything on a continuum that somebody's along, but I really see basically two things. One, the dentists that are natural leaders. They've been leading their whole life. Maybe they were on a sports team. Maybe they were the quarterback. No, I don't know if I have any quarterbacks, but maybe they were involved in that kind of thing, and they've always tapped in to this natural affinity to be guiding, to be leading, to be a visionary, and to look at the bigger picture. And it's really fun when that happens because we get to just go on steroids and say, okay, how can you deepen this and how can you focus it more on dentistry and towards your team? And leading, I mean, the whole, and maybe even in the greater dental community. A lot of dentists I've worked with teach at the different, teach at Pankey, teach at Spear, and they're already giving back in a big way. And then the other thing that I see happen is the dentists that call me out of desperation because they've crashed and burned and they're tired of beating their head against the wall. And when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, they're drowning and they're putting their hand out, Sheri, help me. It's like, okay, dude, you just gotta learn to lead. And that's when I come in a very different capacity. And I hug them a little bit until they stop crying and they can come up for air. And I say, okay, let's look at this a little bit differently. And there are methods and skills. It's not only leadership as this idea, learning to be a better listener, learning to be more clear with communication, learning to say, I'm going to ask you for what I want. I think one of the biggest challenges in leadership that I see in dentistry is simply being clear about expectations.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're dancing on eggshells. I don't want to upset anybody, and she's worked with me for a long time. How can I tell her I want her to be better on the phone now?
Absolutely.
And not only do you have the right as a dentist, business owner, leader, there's an obligation.
Absolutely. It's an obligation to not only your staff to see themselves be better version of their own selves, but obligation to your patients to make sure that they are being treated with the most amount of care, empathy, respect, and kindness.
Yes.
And because you are stewards of their health. I mean, obviously,
Beautiful.
healthcare is evolving significantly. There is more connection now that we have known between oral health and overall systemic health.
Yep.
And if you are the steward of somebody's health, then you have an obligation to the society to really help this patient achieve optimal not only oral health but overall health, right?
Yeah.
And I think once you understand that obligation and take that seriously, and patients feel that, I think everything falls into place, right? Your team
Does.
members work perfectly, your case acceptance rates rise, um, you don't have a problem charging the right, whatever the price that you feel is appropriate. You don't have to really worry about price competition too much.
Right.
And I think everything falls in place. I think that's where I think it's all about leadership, because when you are a leader with your team, and when you assume the role of a steward and leader with your patients, they're going to trust you. And then once you establish that trust, then it really, the issues that you faced of, oh my God, there is this, my competitor out here offering a $29 special, they don't matter anymore because people have trusted you to be the steward of their health.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't have said that any better myself.